The silence of deep space is not a void, it is a weight. For more than half a century, humanity has remained tethered to the familiar, comforting glow of our homeworld, circling in the shallow waters of low Earth orbit. We have grown comfortable with a horizon that is always just a few hundred miles away. But soon, 4 individuals will break that tether. They will watch as the world that contains everything they have ever known, every ocean, every mountain, every memory, shrinks until it can be covered by the tip of a thumb. This is not just a mission of hardware and thrust. It is a journey into the profound, haunting isolation of the lunar distance. The crew of Artemis II will venture more than 370,000 kilometers away from the safety of the Earth, reaching a point where the vibrant, chaotic reality of our planet fades into a fragile sapphire, suspended in an ocean of absolute night. To truly grasp the sheer scale of this journey, we have to look back at the tentative, frantic steps we took in the 1960s. The Apollo missions were born of a feverish geopolitical race, a sprint to the lunar surface driven by the survival instincts of a divided world. When the Apollo 8 crew first rounded the far side of the moon, they weren't struck by the desolate craters below them, but by the staggering sight of the Earth rising over the lunar horizon. It was the first time we truly saw ourselves from afar, a perspective that shifted human consciousness forever. Yet since 1972, that view has been a ghost. We have lived within the protective embrace of the Van Allen belts, tucked away in the International Space Station, seeing the Earth as a massive, curved ceiling rather than a distant sphere. Artemis II is the bridge between our orbital history and our deep space future. The journey begins with the bone-shaking roar of the Space Launch System, the most powerful rocket ever to ignite on a launch pad. As the Orion spacecraft detaches from its boosters, the crew will feel the initial surge of adrenaline give way to the steady rhythmic hum of life support systems. In these early hours, the Earth is still a dominant, suffocating presence, filling the windows with swirling clouds and deep cerulean oceans. But as the engines burn to push the craft into a high Earth orbit, the transition begins. The crew will spend their first day testing the vital systems of the ship, knowing that once they commit to the translunar injection, there is no immediate U-turn. They are entering a trajectory dictated by the cold, unyielding laws of celestial mechanics. Every kilometer gained is a step away from the immediate help of ground control, moving into a realm where communication delays begin to stretch, and the silence of the cosmos starts to settle in. As Orion pushes past the 100,000-kilometer mark, the physical sensation of distance begins to manifest in the cabin. The Earth, once a roaring landscape of weather patterns and continents, starts to resolve into a singular, finite object. From this vantage point, the political boundaries that define our lives simply vanish. The conflicts, the noise, and the frantic pace of modern civilization are reduced to a quiet, glowing sphere. The science of this journey is precise. Every gram of fuel and every joule of energy is accounted for to ensure the craft can loop around the moon and return home using the moon's own gravity as a slingshot. This free return trajectory is a masterpiece of orbital physics, a cosmic dance that uses the mass of a celestial body to pull the travelers back toward the safety of their home. At 200,000 kilometers, the crew enters a psychological gray zone. They are further from home than nearly any human being in history, yet the moon still looms as a distant, cratered target. The darkness outside the reinforced acrylic windows is more absolute than anything found on Earth. It is a blackness so deep it seems to possess its own texture. In this environment, the Orion capsule becomes a tiny, pressurized sanctuary, a metal bubble carrying the spark of human consciousness through a vacuum that is hostile to life in every conceivable way. The radiation from the sun, the microscopic grit of the solar wind, and the freezing temperatures of the shadow are all held at bay by a few inches of advanced shielding and the collective ingenuity of thousands of engineers back on the ground. The climax of the journey occurs as the spacecraft reaches the furthest point of its mission, swinging around the far side of the moon. Here, Artemis II will travel approximately 10,300 kilometers beyond the lunar surface. At this peak distance, the spacecraft will be over 370,000 kilometers from the Earth. For those on board, the experience will be transformative. Looking back, the Earth will appear as a tiny blue dot, a sapphire lost in a velvet sea. It is a sight that evokes what astronauts call the overview effect, a cognitive shift in awareness that occurs when viewing the Earth from space. They will see the thin, precarious layer of atmosphere that protects all of life, a veil so fragile it seems impossible that it has endured for eons. At 370,000 kilometers, the realization hits with crushing force. Everything we love, everything we fight for, and every person we will ever meet resides on that solitary, glowing speck. The technical challenges of operating at this distance are immense and unforgiving. The Orion spacecraft must manage its thermal environment with extreme precision, rotating slowly to bake and freeze evenly under the unfiltered sun. The crew must monitor the health of their systems with a level of autonomy never required in low Earth orbit. If a critical failure occurs at this distance, there is no rescue mission. There are no spare parts coming from the ground. The journey home is a descent back into the gravity well of our origins. The Earth begins to grow in the windows, no longer a tiny sapphire, but a world of detail. The re-entry into the atmosphere is a final, violent trial by fire, where the heat shield must endure temperatures half as hot as the surface of the sun. The splashdown in the Pacific is more than just a successful return. It is the validation of a new era. When the hatch opens and the crew breathes the salt-thick air of the ocean, they bring back more than data. They bring back the certainty that we can return to the moon, not as visitors, but as permanent residents of a new frontier. Artemis II is the mission that proves we have the resolve to leave our cradle once again. It is the rehearsal for Artemis III, which will see the first woman and the next man step onto the lunar surface for the first time in over 50 years. But the vision doesn't end at the moon. Artemis is the ultimate testing ground for our journey to Mars. We are a species defined by our curiosity, by our refusal to stay within the boundaries of the comfortable and the known. The 4 brave souls of Artemis II are the first of many who will cross the Great Divide, leaving the blue glow behind, to find out what lies in the deep, silent reaches of our solar system. We go because we must. We go because it is who we are. The pale blue dot is no longer a destination. It is the harbor we leave behind as we set sail into the great cosmic ocean. Artemis is calling, and this time, we are going to stay. Behind the grand science are simple human moments. Sharing a meal while traveling at thousands of miles per hour, thousands of miles from the nearest kitchen. Every breath they take is a miracle of recycled chemistry. A closed-loop system where water and air are reclaimed, scrubbed, and reborn. Isolation is a weight that doesn't show up on any sensor. It's the silent space between a message sent and the minutes it takes for Earth to answer. Out here, time loses its earthly meaning. There are no sunrises or sunsets, only the eternal glow of ancient stars that have burned for billions of years. We are stardust, looking back at our origins. The universe observing itself through the eyes of 4 travelers.